signed up. Sign up. People. Okay.
Microphone check. 1, 2. This is the Blaze the Lion podcast. I am your host, Blaze the Lion, Blaze Doctari. And all month, all February, we've been talking about relationships. And we've been talking about masculine and feminine energy, right? As it relates to so much. And we've spoken about the adolescence. We've spoken about being a parent, right? Parenting. I also have episode 90 that I did with Dustin Brown, right? That will be released tonight, actually, later. All right. So go to Blaze the Lion podcast on your streaming platforms, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and such. And tonight, I wanted to dive into the relationship with yourself, right? That masculine and feminine struggle that you have with yourself, right? The assertiveness, the boldness, the risk taker versus that side of you that is more of a supporter, more of a listener or a nurturer, right? The sun and the moon. You can call it good versus evil, whatever you want to call it. It's apparent and it's necessary. So this is a bonus special episode with this guy that some of you may know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you've seen him on the pod. You've seen him in my stories once or twice or 12 times. In any case, this is someone, my guest, who is where can I start? I've known this guest for quite some time, a little bit over a year.
Right.
This is someone that I've known for, I don't want to say my age out here, but for a couple decades. Who, man, the growth has been outstanding. Man. I've seen some of the downs. I've seen quite a few ups. Someone who has helped to mentor me, who has helped to mentor my queen as well. And someone who is laser sharp focused, right? Who hasn't allowed the challenges and the obstacles of life to detour him from where he is positioned, from his purpose. He has enhanced the lives of many, hundreds, I'd probably even say thousands out here. Someone with a vision, someone who doesn't hold back, someone who is ready. And I hope you all are ready. But before I introduce him, shout out to our sponsor, Star Child Social. Are you looking for marketing? Looking for branding? Maybe logo design, website design, just an overall facelift for your company? Well, look no further. Go to starchildsocial.com and tell them that Blaze sent you. Indeed. I had to get that out the way. You know what I mean? How to please the queen.
Always, bro. Always.
Indeed. Right now, we are live on Facebook as well as on YouTube on the Blaze Line podcast. All right. So tonight's guest is none other than Mr. Greg Todd himself. Welcome back to the pod, my brother.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you for having me, cuz. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So briefly, I give my long-winded introductions of my guests, but briefly, share with the people a little bit about yourself.
Oh, man. I'm an immigrant kid that came here from Jamaica to the United States when I was less than a year old. And I grew up in a very supportive family. This guy that is hosting this podcast is actually my cousin. So I've known him my entire life. Yes. And basically I believe a lot of things went my way. And what I mean by that is I had just enough to be exposed to what was better out there and what was possible, but not enough to have it. I was surrounded with enough people that pushed me to become better. Two brothers, a father, and I also was very blessed in that I have a mom that supports me and gave me confidence. Um, and today I have uh, 5 businesses, um, ranging from physical therapy clinics to coaching and consulting to virtual assistant help and an agency, a software agency, and now getting into the vacation rental business. And so I have I have I have changed my mindset. I have changed my perspective, and I now understand that everything that's available out there was made for me to either have or not have. And I want to enjoy life, and I want to enjoy the fruits of life, and I want to be able to enjoy it with the people that I want to enjoy it with. And what I have come to realize is that I can have basically anything that I want. I just can't have everything I want. So I have decided to choose the things that I want. And in order for me to get those things that I want, I have to do certain behaviors. And in the process of doing those behaviors, I have to become somebody new. So I am someone totally different than the person that I grew up with, this man here. And because I've become somebody different, I'm able to have things that some people have, but many don't. And so now that I've come to that realization, I realize that I just want to show other people, look, this is how you do it if you want it. If you don't want it, then that's fine too. But if you want it, don't let anybody tell you that you can't have it. You can have it. You just have to be willing to do what it takes. So that's kind of my story. I'm sticking to it.
Where, my question is, my first official question rather, where was the pivot? Where was the shift?
The shift for me, I think, happened in 2002. I think there was 2 main shifts. I think 2002 was one, and 2004 was the next. So 2002, here's what happened. I just moved to Tampa, right? I just left Pembroke Pines and I moved to Tampa. I got a job as a physical therapist manager in Tampa Bay. And when I got that job, I already had a vacation plan to Norway. My wife, Carrie, her cousin was married to a Norwegian guy. Nobody had come to visit them. They've been married for like 7, 8 years. And so I told Carrie, yeah, we can go, but we don't have the money. We have to save up. And so I got a second job when I was living down in South Florida, in Boynton Beach, right? And basically, I worked at that job for 9 months and basically earn enough money so that we can save up for a plane ticket and have $500 cash for a 2-week vacation in Norway, right? So yeah, this is what happened. This is what happened, bro. So basically, we did that. Now, here's what we didn't know. What we didn't know is that Carrie's cousin was married to a very wealthy man. Now, let me tell you how it changed my life. How it changed my life is that I had seen wealth on TV, but I had never actually been in wealth.
Right.
My vision of what wealthy people were like superhero movies. Wealthy people were evil. Those are greedy people. Those are terrible people, right? Until I went to Norway. And in Norway, when we got there, by the way, it's so crazy, bro. I had $500 that I saved up in order for us to go on this 2-week trip, right? Okay, $500. Norway is not like, well, today it's different, but it's not like how it is in America. The first day when we got there, we didn't realize how cold it was going to be in May. That's the first thing. So we had to get extra jackets and different shoes, right? And then we went to this TGI Fridays that they had in Norway. We're like, oh my gosh, this is great. Bro, by the first day, $100 we were down, and we were realizing we're in trouble. Because we're 1 day into the trip and we're already down $100, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, they had brought us to their house. So we go to their house, and bro, their house is off this cliff in Oslo, Norway. It's a 3-story home. It's overlooking Lillehammer, which is where they had the 92 Olympics, overlooking this ski jump called Holmenkollen. The house had to be worth over $1 million back then. It was amazing. And so I had never been in wealth like that.
Yeah.
Now, here was the amazing thing that happened 2 days later. 2 days later was the 17th of May. 17th of May is like the 4th of July for Norwegians. That's their Independence Day.
Mm.
And when we were celebrating Independence Day with all these people, he brought over all his friends and his family, and they were all happy. They're all happy. Now, they didn't have the money that this guy had, but what he was able to do is he was able to bless them and share it with them. And it changed my whole idea of what a rich person actually looks like. I was always taught and trained that rich people were evil, rich people were greedy.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't it. That guy understood that money is a tool. That day, I understood money was a tool, and it could be used to bless people. But what money does is money makes you just more of who you already are. So if you're a giver, money just makes you more of a giver. If you're creative, money allows you to be more creative. Yeah. If you're a terrible person, money just allows you to be more of a dirtbag. And so I knew at that time, I was like, you know what? I want this. So I actually started taking pictures. We had back then, you didn't have no cameras that you could take pictures with, but we actually had like a Polaroid. And I took pictures of his basement, and I actually brought those pictures back, and I actually got them developed. After the Polaroid, we got all of our things out. We actually had another camera, and when I came back, I got it developed at an Eckerd's drugstore, and I started putting those pictures. Eckerd's, bro, Eckerd's. Hey, bro. So here's the deal: I got it developed at an Eckerd's drugstore, and I didn't even realize I was doing a vision board, and I started to obsess over it. So if you've ever went to my first house that I ever bought mimicked the basement game room of this guy's house. And until I saw that, I didn't even know it was possible. So that was that was the first turning point that happened for me. That was it. And here's the last thing that happened. This happened on the second to last day we're in Norway. So this is day 12. Day 12, we're in Norway. And at this point, this guy's taking us all over the country. He took us skiing. He took us fishing. He did this with us. He took da-da-da-da-da. And on the second to last day, he brought me to his office. And I said, Eric, what do you do? He said, I'm entrepreneur. I'm entrepreneur. I said, what's an entrepreneur? He says, I create barcode scan for grocery. And that day I realized that this guy created this and was able to bless all of his family and his friends because he was an entrepreneur. So that was the day. I was like, okay, I got to look into this more. That was the first thing that changed my life. Second thing that changed my life was in 2004. So 2004, I'm working. It's my last job I ever had. I'm working for someone. I'm making good money, making about $66,000 a year, 68, something like that. Making really good money for me at that time. And, but my marriage was kind of falling apart. And it was falling apart because I was working from 7 a.m. to sometimes midnight. I was working from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. at my physical therapy job. And after that, I would go and I would work with professional tennis players after work from 9 to like 11:30 at night. That was my second job. Bro, come on, we're Jamaican. This is what we do. And so I'd come home sometimes 11:30, 12, just to turn back around and do this again and wake up at 5:30 and go run it back. And I'd come home and my wife wouldn't talk to me. She wouldn't talk to me. And I couldn't understand it because I'm like, why are you not talking to me? And I used to get pissed because I'm like, I'm providing for this family. And she's like, you're not giving me the thing that I want. I want time. I'd rather sell the house, sell this, and get your time. And so we ended up having a huge blowout fight on that Saturday because of all the tension that was going on in the house. She was pregnant with RJ, who's now 17. And after the fight, I broke down. Just bawling and crying and just realized I had to do something different. It was up to me as a man to do something different. So I went to my boss that Monday, said, I need to have a meeting with you. His name was Al. I said, Al, have I done everything you wanted with the company so far? He's like, Greg, you brought this clinic from 0 patients, brand new clinic. We had you seeing 19 people by the end of the first year. If you could see 19 clients a day, we would have called this a massive success. I was seeing 27. So I said, okay, so here's what I want. My review's coming up. I don't want any more money. I don't need the money. But what I need is I need to get 1 day off a week. Here's what I'll be willing to do, Al. You guys are paying me for 40 hours a week. I'd be willing to work 4 12-hour shifts. Al said, Greg, I don't know if we're going to do that, but let me talk to the higher ups. He went to talk to the higher ups. He actually got back to me that night. He said, Greg, we can't do that. The next morning, I gave him my pink slip. That day changed my life. I've never worked for somebody again. You see, that Saturday, when my marriage was on the line, I decided that I had to play a different game.
Yeah.
See, everybody's playing the money game. I played the time game. I was winning the money game as I was able to pay my note, pay my car note, pay my mortgage. I was able to do all that, but I wasn't able to win the time game. The time game was going to make me lose my family. So since that day, I have played the time game, which is how can I collapse my time? How can I add more value to people's lives in less time? How can I make the same amount of money that I was making before? How can I do that instead of 40 hours? How can I do it at 30? How can I do what I was doing at 30 and 20? How can I do what I was doing 20 and 10? And I've continued to collapse my time down. And here's what I realized, Blaze. When you play the time game, you have a chance to win the time game. And if you win the time game, you automatically win the money game. But if you play the money game, you might win the money game, but you don't win the time game. So play the time game. Those 2 days changed my life.
What's funny to me is that I've heard bits of these stories throughout the years, and each and every time I hear it, it hits me differently.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. One of my coaches says to me, Greg, it's important that you say the same message over and over and over again. Focus on saying the same message to different people, not focusing on doing a different message to the same people. And you just prove why. Because when you hear it every single time, the reason why you're hearing it different each time is because you're a different person each time.
Ooh.
So it's hitting you different.
Ooh.
You're different. You're different. You're different even in the last 3 months. You're different. So something is going to resonate with you that you couldn't accept before, but now you can accept it.
Drop some gems in the chat, because I already know I'm going to get goosebumps during this episode. I already know. All right. So the battle, right? Masculine and feminine. I want to go just a little bit, if you don't mind, into your marriage and just the internal battle, right? Especially in that fight where you're overwhelmed, you are maybe upset, angry. As you said, I am providing for this family. Like, what do you mean? Like, why aren't you happy? And all of this, right? And as men, we have this built-in this system or this belief that we must provide, right? We are the hunters, right? So we must go after it. And sometimes that may mean not coming home because you're providing and all of this. How, just share a little bit about that internal battle that, because I know even after that fight, it wasn't like, okay, well, the money's coming now. You know what I mean? Like you still had to, you know?
Yeah. So I think there's a couple things. I mean, I've learned so much. We're about to celebrate year 22. Can you remember you were at that wedding? It's 22 years, March 31st. So, you know, there's a couple things. I think, you know, I don't know if we can say that we're hardwired that way, but I think most people are, you know, and things are changing a bit now, but at least for me, you know, I'm hardwired to want to provide for my family, right? And my wife is hardwired to nurture, right? And we're all different personalities, but look, I can only speak for myself.
Yeah.
So when we're not able to do that, it's very frustrating. Now, here's the deal. The deal is that we all have needs as well. And I think one of the things that I've just come to understand over the years is that when we're communicating well and we're setting the expectations that, listen, I want to be able to provide for your needs, but I also have to do my obligation. And if I can't do the thing that I'm obligated to do for the family, then it doesn't make me feel like I'm contributing.
Right.
Now, that can get blurry sometimes. So one of the things that I know, that when I look at times where it's frustrating for my wife, is when I'm just not communicating, hey, this is what's going to happen. Fear. I'll give you a perfect example. I'm on the podcast. It's 8:00 at night, right? This is usually the time that she wants to, like, hey, you're wrapping it up. I want to watch our show, House Hunters, or watch some show on Netflix or whatever. There's no problem tonight because I communicated, hey, this is what's going to happen. I did this yesterday. This is what's going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to have 3 interviews in the morning. I'm going to have this. I got to meet with my team between this. I've got to do that. And I'm going to be doing a podcast tomorrow night at 8. After the podcast, we'll be able to, watch our show, this, that, da, 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 da. Cool. Here's what's going to happen tomorrow. Oh, by the way, on Thursday, I blocked out my schedule so we can take the kids to Busch Gardens to celebrate Elena's birthday. So what I've come to understand is that, and then for her, it's the same thing. It's like, her job is to kind of she holds down the fort with the kids at the house, right?
Yeah.
I got 4 kids. So when she communicates to me, hey, today Elena has, a wisdom teeth appointment, okay, a consult. Is there any way that you can take her? Can you block out your schedule to take her? Because I got to take the kids, 2 of the kids, to go get a consult for braces. So can you do that? So I don't want to be running up and down. Can you do that first? Okay, great. So when we're communicating, understanding that we're 2 totally different beings, by the way, not only male, female, but also from 2 totally different families, 2 totally different upbringings, 2 totally different sets of traumas prior to meeting each other. Yeah. And then trauma that we've had because we've been with each other, right? Yeah. And just understand that you're dealing with 2 different beings, right? That have great intentions, but still need to be conveyed and communicated in order to make things work.
Yeah. And then you're Jamaican, so that just adds on like more trauma.
It just adds on. We're just born with trauma. We're just born with trauma. Yeah, oh my God.
It's like we are just born vexed, yeah.
We're just born angry, we're born vexed, born moody. Just Lord God.
But I like that, like that was smooth. That was smooth. Because it wasn't hey, this is my schedule. I don't know if it's gonna upset you. This is the schedule. However, right, I'm telling you beforehand, right? And I still help out with the kids. We have things planned as well. So that right there is just a little lesson, a little that right there just shines light on winning relationships. And none is perfect. Granted,
none is perfect.
None is perfect. But
if you don't have arguments and that means you don't have any ability to communicate. Okay? There's no way. We're different people, right? We're different people. Every single time I have some type of misunderstanding or argument or whatever you want to call it with anyone, with a staff member, with my spouse, on the other side of it, we're better. We understand each other more. We've been through more, We're different people. And what you want is somebody that's going to understand you and get you, right? But also the intention is that I want to serve this person. Her job is to serve me. My job is to serve her, right? So we want to serve each other. But in order to serve each other, we have to understand each other. So that's just all part of the game, And if I can't be real with my wife, then who can I really be real with, So, and I got to be honest with you, just that one relationship has been probably one of the biggest hacks that I've had in order to allow me to grow as an entrepreneur. It's service, man. It's service. It's constant service. So, and people, I don't want to be obligated to anybody, bro. Like that's what this is all about. It's obligations that we have, the obligation to serve my wife, obligations to serve my audience, The obligation is to serve my team, right? And that's it. Those obligations do pay off, though.
Right.
They do, if everybody's pulling their weight. So that's it.
Yeah. And as a parent, yes, I want to and I will make tremendous amounts of money to where I can wipe my butt with it, right? Not that I would ever do that. That's just disrespectful. Right? However, a big part of that as a parent is I want to be able to be there for my son, be there for the kids, and not always, have the, oh, well, I got to work. Oh, well, I got a class to teach. Oh, well, I can't, And as my son is growing up and now he plays football and he has his football practice twice a week. And then he has games every Saturday. And me, I'm teaching classes almost every night. And I'm teaching classes every Saturday. And just even in this season, I'm having to figure out, all right, what games can I go to? How can I maneuver this? And I would love to go. I truly want to go to every single game,
right?
And every single practice. So it's like to be able to. So I feel like having the financial freedom is being able to be present.
Okay, let's talk about that. Let's all talk about that. So I think one of the things that we have to understand is that we have to embrace the seasons of life that we're in. Okay, and there is seasons. There is winter, there is spring, there's summer, and there's fall. In fall, we reap our harvest. But if you don't sow the seed in spring and you don't deal with the hard summer and the heat of summer, you will never, ever, ever reap the harvest of fall. The harvest of fall is when you get to the point where you can be at every single one of your son's games and nobody can tell you anything. There is something that I want to make sure is very clear. There's no entitlement of you being able to do that right now. You have to earn that. For me, I missed a lot of things with the first two kids. I missed the games. I missed a lot of the recitals. I missed a lot of the open houses. Made some, missed a lot too. Because I was in a season that I was building something. I was building an asset. The asset was my business.
Yeah.
And my business needed me in order for me to build that asset. But that was a season. And I had to convey that and communicate that with the people that were around me, my spouse, this, that, da. It was different when I was working for the man. Because when I was working for the man, I think why it was so frustrating for my wife, subconsciously we both knew that this was never going to end. This is how it was always going to be. But when I was building something, yes, I was still missing it, but it was a season that I was in, bro. Okay? So we understood it. No longer was it like, oh, he missed another. Oh, it's like, wait, this is going to change. Yeah. She had the faith, I had the faith. This is going to change because now I'm actually building an asset. And the asset was my business. So maybe by time Adri was in maybe 6th grade, RJ was now in 4th grade, I wasn't missing anything anymore. I wasn't missing anything anymore. I was making all their stuff. Now, maybe I couldn't go to every single dentist appointment, this, that. Okay, right. Well, guess what? Now I'm in fall. I'm at a harvest season. I'm in a season where I'm not like I run the show. I have a lot of assets that I built. Those assets make me money because I've already built those things. So it makes me money over and over and over again. The assets are a team of people. The assets are digital products. The assets are physical products. These things make me money for me to be able to live. The assets, real estate. So now that makes me money. So now today we got the appointments. Got it. I'm there. We've got appointments for my wife. Got it. I'm there. You want to go to Busch Gardens? Okay. Got it. We'll take off Thursday in the middle of a launch. Right? But that's because I'm in a season. And what I see a lot of people online is they're trying to tell people that you can just bypass all seasons and get to this one in 24 days for $9.97. That's not how it works. That is not how it works. It takes time, but you also have to build the actual asset that is going to allow you that when you build it, it's going to now create a harvest that's going to allow you to do that. For you, if your harvest is, I want to be able to be at my son's football games, I want to be able to be at this, you have to build an asset. You have to build a vehicle that will allow that.
Yeah.
Okay. If you want that vehicle to be something that makes me $3 million a year, but I don't care how much time I have, I don't care about anything else, just my business. Well, then you build a vehicle for that. Okay. So number one, most people aren't building any vehicles. They're not building anything. Okay. But that's what you got to understand. But once you start building, you got to acknowledge this is a season I'm in. I'm in a season of building. It's also in the Bible, it says sowing. I'm sowing. Here's what we know about sowing and reaping. You always reap more than you sow. You always reap after you sow, and you always reap before the next period. Okay, so I supposed to sow the seed in spring. There will be a period that will be dry, but then I'll get a harvest. So just understand that. Okay, you're always going to reap after you sow. You're always going to reap more than you sow, and there's going to be a period that there's going to be nothing after you sow. And if you understand that, then you're good. Then you're good.
Dropping the gems. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's been, as you've helped so many people, so many businesses, what's been the biggest obstacle you've seen for other people?
Belief. We've been so trained and indoctrinated for our entire life that basically makes people truly believe that they can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been told our entire life to go to school, go to college, get the highest degree you can, get a job, work for someone, work until you're 65, retire, and enjoy the golden years. Is anything that I said inaccurate? And that's how we've been taught?
No.
And if you don't do it, you're an outcast in the family, right? Okay. You're an outcast. Okay. All right. So let's kind of talk about those things. Let's talk about, some of them. And I like to, when I'm trying to figure out, what am I doing and is, where I'm going right, I like to always revert back to the Bible. So there's a couple things. And by the way, if you guys want, there's a great book called Business Secrets from the Bible by Rabbi Daniel Lapin. And he basically talks about the Old Testament and locking it up with scripture and what it is that we do. You know that there's absolutely zero talk. There is no word in Hebrew about retirement. Retirement does not exist anywhere in the Bible. Bible gives us a blueprint for a lot of business principles. Gives us a blueprint for a lot of how we should treat others. Gives us a lot of blueprint on how we should do marriage, how we should advise people, how we should counsel people, what things are right, what things aren't. But Bible talks nothing, never mentions a word about retirement. You want to know why? Because retirement doesn't exist. Retirement was something that was created by man. And retirement is actually messing up so many people. Because if you think about it, all you're trying to do is you're trying to get to the point where you can retire. Basically, what you're telling yourself subconsciously is that I want to get to the point in my life where I don't have to serve other people.
Wow.
That's it. So if subconsciously your finish line is, I want to get to the point where I never have to serve God's children anymore. Well, what are you going to try to do throughout the process of that? You're going to try to find ways to get to the finish line faster. You're not going to desire to serve people. So instead of us looking at it like that, maybe we should look at it as listen, I want to serve until the day that I die. Now, my physical body might change. My situation might change. And the way that I serve might be differently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like you train people today. Okay. You train people today, right? You're an amazing, gifted trainer, right? I think everybody knows that, right? Well, bro, you might not be able to do that 50 years from now.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you can't serve people.
Right.
You might be able to serve them in another way. You might be able to serve them through your words. You might be able to serve them through, whatever, right? So there's so many things that we were taught and indoctrinated with that's actually holding so many of us back. And I think that's one of the first things I would tell you all is start looking at, what do you think about money? What do you think about wealth? What do you think about serving others? And ask yourself, is that actually serving you? Mark said you should want to retire ASAP if you're getting up every day doing a job that you don't want or you hate. Well, see, that's the thing. So most people are indoctrinated to work in something that is going to be looked at or looked upon as desirable or as high in status to other people, even if you hate it.
Yeah.
Whereas I believe that every person should be working within their passion.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Bible says that wisdom is far more valuable than gold, silver greater than understanding. So how do I get wisdom? Wisdom is when I'm working within my passion. My passion are things that I'm not looking at the clock for. Things that I honestly want to obsess about all day. My passion is also terrible obstacles that I've gone through, that it hurts me to the core, that I actually went through this. And I'm so passionate about other people, even my worst enemy, never having to go through that. That's what everybody should be doing right now. So whether that is you're passionate about teaching people how to get abs, you're passionate about teaching people how to start a business, you're passionate about teaching people how to overcome relationship issues, you're passionate about teaching people how to fix a problem that they have in their body. Like if that's what you're passionate about, that's what allows you to then be able to convey your message and actually create emotion behind your message and move people to be able to buy. Move people to be able to work with you. Move people to be able to create a movement. But you got to be passionate about it. But that's not how we learn. Mm-hmm. Oh, you can't do what you're passionate about. Oh, no, you can't do that. You can't be a vagabond, right? So there's so many things that we've learned that are holding so much of us back. So here's what I would say to all of you. Start to analyze all the things that you've learned and that have been told to you, and just ask yourself this: is this serving me right now? Like, are you where you want to be financially? Like, do you wake up every single day just ready to be able to work and to be able to serve people? Do you see yourself in a position to where you can actually serve people and you could serve them whether you're in front of them or not? Does what you're currently doing right now allow you to make money in your sleep and make enough money that every single morning when you wake up, you realize, wow, I already paid the bills. I'm good. Everything that you make is gravy. If you're not, then maybe you need to question, who taught me this? Do they have what I want? Why do I still believe this?
Yeah.
And do that for every single thing that you currently are believing, because whatever you believe is what you live.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so sometimes frustrating when I go to these jobs, right? And I know I'm not born to be the 9-to-5er, right? So I know I'm in these jobs for a season. I already know that. And when I go to these jobs, a lot of my coworkers, the entrepreneurial life, they can't even envision that. All they're thinking about is, this job is cool. How can I get a better paying job? How can I move on to the next level to get paid more, but still doing the job?
Right. Here's what I'm gonna say. I think that's the beautiful thing about this world. I think that some of us are made um, to fit within the mold, or have been
Mm.
conditioned to fit in mold, and we're not looking for any way out. You ever heard a thing of? I think it's like sort of like the elephant that has their leg, tied up. It's a chain, and basically now the chain is no longer anchored to anything. The elephant still won't move, right?
Yeah.
Like, look, at the end of the day, you know, we're all built differently. We're all built differently. I think some of us are built to be employees, and that's what makes us happy, and we're good. And we
Mhm.
need employees, man. I need people to work for me, bro. And that, right? I mean, we have some people that are built as what we call entrepreneurs, meaning that they love the idea of being able to create things and build things and take personal responsibility for things, but they don't want to put up um, the monetary investment. An
Yeah.
entrepreneur is someone that owns and operates a business and is willing to do so at major financial risk. That is not for everybody.
Yeah.
I think all we just have to understand is that, listen, the person that's willing to put up the biggest risk should also be given the biggest reward if the risk pays off. That's it. So if you have coworkers that want to be entrepreneur or want to be employees for the rest of their life, let them be. We need employees out there, right? But for me, I realize that God has given me something that I believe is given everybody, which is the ability to desire. And I have desires. I have material desires. I have mission desires. I have desires for my marriage. I have desires for my kids. I have desires for myself. So I personally am willing to put up financial risk in order to get that, right? But that doesn't have to be everybody. And
Yeah.
I think we have to be very mindful of managing our energy and deciding, like, hey, listen, man, my job is not to convince anybody of anything. My
Mhm.
job is just to say the thing I need to say, and I need to say it and say it loud and say it well, and focus my energy on finding more people that want to hear what I need to say. That's it.
Mm.
So if my coworkers, if they want to stay at their job, bro, I'm not convincing of anything, man. Stay at your job, bro. You're good. Okay. But for me, at my house, okay, we ain't doing that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. With all of this that we discussed tonight, that leads me to this question here. How can we become invincible?
Yeah. So let's talk about those employees there for a second. Um, Invincible basically means this. It means that you are so powerful that you cannot be defeated or overcome. And here's what I've come to understand. What I've come to understand is that pretty much all of us are one third party event away from being overcome. We're
Hmm.
one third party event away from being defeated. I'll give you some examples. Um, I can't tell you how many people I've reached out to. And I said, hey, how's everything going? Oh my gosh, I just got a new job, GT. It's been amazing. 2 months ago. 2 months later, just got laid off.
Hmm.
People said to me in 2022, oh my gosh, man, I love living here in Boston, da 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 da. 2 months later, man, I need a new job because they hiked up my rent 25%. Most of us are one third party event away from things going south real fast.
Hmm.
And so that's what invincible means. Invincible means that you have put yourself in a position to where you can't be overcome and defeated by inflation, by the recession, by job layoffs. If you're an employer, by the great resignation, by all the things that are going on in our world. What I've come to realize for myself is that there are certain skills, certain strategies, and certain behaviors that I've had to build that have allowed me to be able to not have to be obstacle free, but allowed me to be able to stand the test of time. and allowed me to be able to make money, take care of my family, not only survive, but thrive, regardless of what's going on. And that's a perspective, that's skills, that's strategies, and that most importantly is building a vehicle. And that vehicle is something that allows me to make money and have the ability to accept money from other people 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 a year. And when you can do that, you're invincible. You're invincible. And so that's what I want to show people in the Invincible Challenge. It's 5 days. It's the first challenge I've ever done that's, number one, free and open to people outside of healthcare. This is open to anybody, because I know that if you do this, it will serve you and serve you well, regardless of what industry you're in.
Mm-hmm. I remember just going back to like the belief, going back to the mindset, and man, we have been conditioned, but we don't realize how deep those roots are.
Oh yeah. You know something? I don't know if Mark is still on, but Mark said, like, you know, you can never tell anybody they got a mindset problem because nobody thinks they got a broken mindset. Everybody thinks that they're good. So it's one of those things where you can't even go there. But the reality is that there's so many things that we have just been subconsciously told and indoctrinated on, and we don't even realize it. And we're just literally living in the matrix. We're just living like zombies every single day, doing the same thing over and over and over again. And it's like another day, another dollar, you know, and not even questioning, can things be different, you know? So yeah, a lot of those things people need to understand. You know, I think one of the first things is, you know, it's important for people to understand that money is not complicated. People think money is so good. Money is very simple. It's a very simple thing to understand. It's a very simple thing. Okay. If you want to create wealth, you have to understand how to create wealth. And it's very simple. Here, you know, should I tell you? You want me to tell you right now? Let's not wait till the challenge. Here, let's just talk about it now. So my brother Mark introduced me to one of my first personal development events, and he actually gave me like the recordings to it. I didn't even go to the event. I don't know if he went, but I believe he went to this event. It was from a guy named T. Harv Eker, and he said it was called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. It's in 2009, right? And he basically said, this is how you got to manage your money. 30% of your money should be spent on yourself, on your expenses. Okay? 30 to 40% of your money is for taxes. I'll explain the 30 to 40% in a second. And then the other 30% of your money should be stored away for investments to build assets. Okay. So this is what I think most people don't understand. Would you say making $100,000 a year, for a lot of people, that's a lot of money. That's amazing. But if you were to apply those principles, making $30,000 a year, would you say that's a lot of money to live off of? It really isn't, right? Okay. So this is what people have to understand. People have to understand is that our sights are so low that there's no way that you're ever going to build wealth. And when I heard that, and by the way, back then I actually had a clinic. I actually had 2 clinics when I heard that. And I realized that if I was to follow what this guy said, I couldn't live taking care of my 3 kids at the time and my wife. So quickly, as soon as I understood it, I was like, man, I can't live like that. I was like, I actually have to increase my standards. And in life, you don't get your goals, bro. You get your standards. So I initially said, yo, in the next 6 months, I have to give myself a raise. I got to find this way to give myself a raise. And I got to get to $150,000 so that I can now live 30%, 30 to 40%, and 30% stash. And in 6 months, I did it. All that had to happen was that I had to change my standards. And I made it happen. Within 2 years, I had my business doing $1 million. 2000 was my first $1 million year in my business. Bro, I had to just understand what I didn't understand.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about the 30 to 40% with taxes. I hope everybody's kind of getting this. So 30 to 40%. So why 40% or 30%? Well, if you work for the man, you're paying 40%. Okay? Because like right now, if you're working for somebody, you're paying for your cell phone. For the most part, unless you got a cell phone that comes with a company. You're paying for your cell phone. You're paying for your car. You're paying your gas. You're paying for your apartment. You're paying your rent. You're paying this. You go on vacation, you're paying for it. All those things. Guess what? You get taxed. Next time that you're going to go on vacation, go ahead and look at Southwest and look at what the tax is, the fuel surcharge tax. Look at what the state sales tax is. Look at what all the different taxes are. You're paying 40%. Now, if you have your own business, well, you actually earn money, then you spend money, and then you get taxed after that. So you're 30%. Okay. Now, if you're living off of 30%, you're getting taxed. Now the other money was an asset. So here's how it started with me. That 30%, I started a store. Initially, it was like $50 to $100 a month. Then it got to $200 a month. Then it got to $300 a month. Then it got to $400 a month. Then it got to $500 a month. And so what ended up happening is that I had this bank account. I had this bank account that, you know, at one point had like $1,200, and then it got to $2,400, got to $5,000. And now I realized that this money wasn't money for me to go blow on something. This money was for me to start looking for opportunities.
Yeah.
Bro, I started, you know, like those parking meters, you know, like they have the parking meters downtown. Bro, I didn't realize. I didn't realize this until I actually adopted this perspective. Some of those parking meters in different areas you can buy. You could buy the parking meter. You see, so listen, I didn't know that because I wasn't looking to invest. There's opportunities to invest everywhere, man. There's opportunities to invest right down the street. There's opportunities to get into Airbnb. There's opportunities to get over here. There's opportunities to sublease spaces from people right now. And then when you sublease it, you can then lease it to somebody else. There's opportunities all over. But if you're not in that mindset, if you're not in that perspective, you're not seeing those things. So what happened is that when I started to store the money, started with 10% and it got to 20%, it got to 30%, I started to store that money. I started to see opportunities.
Yeah.
And that's where the money's at, is the ones that can seize opportunities. You can see it. Opportunities for everybody else are just, it's just going past them just like that. They're not, they can't even see it. For me, my eyes can see the opportunity. So opportunity right there. There's an opportunity right there. There's an opportunity right there. Oh my God, there's an opportunity right there. Okay. You know,
clarity.
So it's clarity, man. And the opportunities is where the income's at. And those are the opportunities that build assets. Assets follow income. Income creates choices. You have no income, you have no choices. Choices is what gives you the freedom.
Whew.
So these things we just have to understand. You have to build assets, but you can't build assets if you don't have any income to actually be able to store away money to now look for assets to build.
Right.
So you must become invincible in the way that you're earning your money. And you must create higher standards for how much money you need to make. And most people don't want to talk about that because for them, money's taboo, money's evil. We can't, it's just too uncomfortable to talk about. No, you need to make more money.
Yes. That part. So I'm excited for those listening. If they're excited, which I know many of them are, how do they get started with this challenge?
So basically all you got to do is this: go to invinciblechallenge.com. Maybe in the description section, there might be a link for you. Have them put the links up for you. And basically that's really it. You guys, it's going to be Monday, March 6th. It's going to be 5 days. And we're going to go through all of the different things that I've had to learn. It's 23 years as a physical therapist, 18 years as an entrepreneur. I did not have this whole thing figured out. I still don't have the whole thing figured out. but I know enough to help most of y'all. And so that's what I want to do. And I want to just help you with how do you actually do this? And how do you do this during these times? And I'll tell you right now, these times are amazing, amazing times for you to create some massive opportunity. The one thing I want people to understand is this. It's something very, to me, I call it the great divide. I know we have the great resignation, the great layoffs, the great this. I believe what's happening right now is the great divide. When I went to college 20 plus years ago, it was very clear that what I went to college for, I was going to be able to come out of college and be middle class. And middle class used to be a thing. And being able to have a house with a mortgage that you can never pay off, but still you got a house, have a white picket fence, have 2.5 kids and a dog named Sparky. A lot of people wanted to go for that, including me. But the reality is that with everything going on in our world, with how our institutions are, the middle class is a class that's being eliminated. Millennials are moving back in with parents at record paces. Ironically, millennials are graduating from college at record paces. That's interesting. So we're graduating from college with higher degrees than we've ever had, but we can't afford to live on our own. I'd say if you can't live on your own, and it's not because you want to stay at home with mama, but because you have to stay at home, mama, I would call that not middle class. I call that poverty. So what's happening is this. What's happening is that the rich are getting richer.
Yeah.
The poor are getting poorer. And the middle class is now becoming the poor. That's the bad news. Here's the good news. The good news is that there's a lot of new rich. We have 22 million millionaires right now in America. I didn't say 22,000. I didn't say 2,200. I didn't say 220,000. I didn't even say 2.2 million, bro. We have 22 millionaires right now in America. Here's the mind-blowing part. 90% of them are first generation. Now, you ready? You ready to really have your mind? We're in 2023. By 2026, that number is going to double, with 90% being first generation. So 22 million millionaires are going to be created between now and 2026. Why not you?
Yeah.
Why not you? Why? What is it that they know that you don't know? We can't say now. We can't say, oh man, it's because of the white man. Can't say that anymore. Oh man, it's because of the Republican or Democrat. Can't say that anymore. Oh man, it's because of where they grew up. No, can't say that anymore. So what is it that they know that you don't know? InvincibleChallenge.com.
There we go. Star Child. Are you getting all this? So I hope you're taking notes for me. Couldn't replays be hitting, man.
Bro, this is it. This is it.
Really, really briefly. Thank you. Yes. She said all of it. There we go.
All of it.
There you go. I don't know if I've ever asked you this. And I'm going to keep this brief because I know, all right, happy wife, happy life.
It's all good. I had a podcast at 9:30 tonight, and we had to reschedule it. So right now I'm good, bro. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. See, I set the expectations that I was reading at 10:30. Yeah. And guess what? It's like, wow.
Hey.
Yeah.
Awesome. I don't know if I've ever asked you this, but What do you think your children's perception of you is?
I feel like my kids say that their father loves life and lives life.
Mm.
I mean, I hear them say it. Daddy experiences everything.
Mm.
He experiences everything.
Mm.
I think that's what it is. He goes for it. He
Yeah.
goes for it, right? I personally think, I mean this in the most respectful way that I can say this to every single one of you. I believe that a lot of us are neglecting our children,
Mm.
and not in the way that maybe many people think. Oh, you don't spend enough time. No, 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 no. I think that we're very hypocritical, and that we're telling our kids to go after their dreams when we're not going after ours.
Ooh.
I believe it's very hypocritical. I think if I tell my kids, "Oh, this is what you got to do," listen. I really don't say much to them about you got to do this. You got to. I just watch me.
Yeah. You just
Just
do it.
watch me. Just do it. Like they don't hear me complaining. They see me getting up every morning and getting that workout in. They see me getting that second workout in when Daddy's doing 75 hard. They see me doing the stuff. They see me talking to the people. They see me passionate about what it is that I'm doing.
Yeah.
They see even on days that Daddy's not feeling great, he still does it. So at the end of the day, I'm running businesses, but I'm parenting, bro. I'm parenting. I'm showing them how it's done. And one of my mentors says in life, a lot of things are caught, not taught.
Mm.
So just watch me, And I'm not saying I'll do everything perfect,
Right. Right.
but by any means. But I think that the kids would say, I don't know, my dad kind of just goes for it. He
Mm.
just goes for it. Whatever he wants, he just kind of does whatever he needs to do to make it happen.
Yeah.
That's it. So I don't know if they're going to turn up screwed up. I don't know if they're going to be amazing. I have no idea. But I know that they'll tell you that their father doesn't live with any regrets.
Mm.
He just goes for it.
Yeah.
He goes for it, and he learns from the mistakes. But Daddy screws up a lot. Daddy fails a lot, but he finds a way to always learn from it and make money from it. It seems like. It seems like so. Anyways, I think that's what they say, but you have to ask them. One thing I've got to say though is I'm really proud that um, I have a really solid relationship with my kids. You
Mm.
know, and I believe that's because there's a lot of time invested in them. So you know, uh, even when they're pushing me to be like, Daddy, can you do this after? Daddy, can you play FIFA with me? Oh, Daddy, can we watch a Heat game? Da, 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 da. Listen, someone like, oh man, I wish I could just work them. But you know what? I'm like, man, the fact that I got a 20-year-old, a 17-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 9-year-old wanting to be around me, man, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Uh-huh.
So that's a good
Yeah.
thing.
Out of the four children, which one you think is more likely to be the entrepreneur?
If I had to guess right now, I would say Adri. I would say Adriana is going to be the one. Her personality is she's an alpha. She doesn't. She always wants to take the reins. But that's what I'm saying right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you had, let's just say this is 25 years ago, and if my parents were on this podcast, so Auntie Patsy is you, and Uncle Richard over here is me, okay, and she was to ask my dad that, I think my dad would say who was going to be the entrepreneur. I think he would say Mark.
Mm.
How about Greg? No way. So, that's what I say today. I don't know. Maybe it's not going to be AG. Maybe it's going to be RJ. I have no idea. I know that we all will grow. I know that I'm growing and I'm changing. So who knows? I just want them to do whatever it is that they want to do. My hope and my prayer for my kids is that they find massive passion and desire in serving whoever they're serving. And I know that that will give them the highest probability of making an amazing impact on the world.
Yeah. 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 Hmm. Hmm. Um, I had to do this in Toastmasters, right? This was a question that they asked, and I had to give a speech on this
Okay.
impromptu, right?
Mm.
So we're gonna test you a little bit, all right?
Oh boy. Okay. Nice. Okay.
Timer. Can we get 2 minutes on the clock? All right. So, in saying about 2 minutes, um, describe life through the eyes of one of your children.
Describe life through the eyes of one of my children.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Every day I wake up and I have my iPad. I'm going to describe life through the eyes of Elena. Every day I wake up and I have my iPad right next to me, and that's how I view the world.
Mm. Mm.
And then when I put my iPad down and I come downstairs, I realize that it is a different world. And then I go to the one being in the house that provides unconditional love, and that is my dog. And then after that, I come back upstairs and I do what I have to do so that the rest of the day I can do what I want to do.
Mm.
I spend time with the people that I love. I have highs and lows. And that's my life. And that's how it is every day.
Mm.
That's it.
So we're gonna take that. She is how old?
13, gonna be 14 Saturday.
All right. So I know that you're old, right? But I know that we're old here.
I know.
Right? Could you walk us through your lenses when you were 13?
Jeez. When I was 13, you know what's so funny? When I was 13, I would say that my day consisted of when I woke up in the morning, I didn't have an iPad.
Mm-hmm.
But when I woke up in the morning, I had desire to turn on my video games.
Mm.
I didn't have a dog, but I would get ready to go to school and do the things that I had to do for about 7 hours,
Mm-hmm.
so that I can then come home and do the things that I want to do,
Mm-hmm.
which is play with my friends and go to the baseball field. And every day I had highs and I had lows. And I repeated that over and over and over again.
Mm.
And that was my life.
Mm.
It's the same damn thing, bro.
Mm. Mm.
And you know what's so crazy? If I look at my life today,
Mm-hmm.
it's nearly the same.
Mm.
Every day I wake up. Only difference that today is that there are certain things that I have to do. They're my habits, but they're actually things that I want to do.
Yeah, yeah.
There are things that I have to do. They're my habits. But for me, it's actually things that I want to do. And what I realize is that I don't have to go and do something that I hate for 7 hours, like what I did when I was in middle school. But because I'm now an entrepreneur, there are things that I want to do every day. And what I realize is that that has increased as I've gotten to my fall season.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Some people don't mind that though, bro. Some people don't mind working for somebody for 8 to 10 hours a day and spend a third of their day. They spend a third of the day working for someone that they don't want to do the work. They spend a third of their day sleeping. So they have a third of the day where they can actually do the things that they get to do. See, for me, I'd rather that not be the case. I'd rather spend 66% of my day doing the things that I want to do and a third of my day sleeping. Not doing things I hate, but I have to do. I just don't believe that, that should be the aspiration of life. I don't mind working towards the point where I can get that. I don't mind that. Well, like there's some things I don't want to do, but I have to do it. Okay. But I want to get to the point where I can do more of the things that I actually want to do. But you got to build that.
I never understood, especially now, as I'm getting older. I know I still look like I'm 27 and all.
You do.
But as I get older, I shake my head that we're in this rat race to work decades and decades, and then now in your 60s, you have this freedom to do. It's certain things, there's certain places I'll go at 68 that's going to be a totally different experience than me going now.
Right. Yeah, bro. Like I don't want to do that. Like, no. Sorry, I like for instance, I love the water, right? I love the water. And in 2020 during the pandemic, when we couldn't like be around people a lot, whatnot, I was really underwater a lot. Like I'm talking like 2-3 times a day. I go out on my boat, this, that, right? And I know a lot of people want to do this, but me and my neighbor, he's a young guy, right? It's his parents' house, but he lives there, full time. So on a Friday night, every Friday night, me and him would take out my boat and we would go out to Clearwater Bay and we'd go to the Gulf of Mexico, right? And we would stop the boat. When it was calm, I'm talking, it's calm. It's just sunset. You're just out in the ocean, right? And he's a young guy. He's like 20. He was 22, like 22 years old. And we'd stop the boat. We'd have the music on, and we just jump out into the sea. Just jump out into the sea. And initially, I was kind of nervous. Okay, I was a little nervous because I was like, man, I know what's out here, bro. I see. I mean, it's one thing of dolphins. It's another thing is sharks and this and that. But you know what? One day, I mustered up the courage to jump off the boat like him. And I realized something, and it's something that you just brought up. I realized something. I realized that, and this is when I decided to jump. I was like, you know what? I'm at an age right now where I actually can jump. Like I can. I mean, I might get eaten. Okay, I might get eaten, but I can jump.
Yeah.
And you're 100% right. There's certain things that you should put yourself in the position to be able to experience now, because it doesn't hit the same when you are 20, 25, 30 years later. No different than when we just started a podcast and I said something. You're like, gee, you said that before, but it hit different now. Well, there's certain things that you can experience now that it's going to hit different than 10 years from now, where physically your body is not where it was 10 years prior. That's why I say to people, the time is now. The time is now to be able to start, to be able to actually put these things into play, to be able to build the assets so that you can reap the harvest and you can enjoy things in life that you could enjoy right now because you're physically able to.
Yeah.
Don't take that for granted.
Sometimes I'm driving through Aventura area and I see these older people. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how old they are. I just know that they appear to be probably in their 60s,
Mm-hmm.
and they're in the Lamborghini and the Corvette, and they're driving it like. And I'm saying, What's the point of that? Why bother? Just get a
Better late than
Hyundai.
never. Better late than never.
If you're gonna drive it like that, I don't want a
Hey,
Lambo when I'm 70. I want a Lambo now. You know what I mean?
well, you know what? You can. You can. You have to believe that. You
Yeah,
can.
yeah,
You can. You know. Um, but it's like this is the thing I say to people: how bad do you really want it?
yeah,
I think that's it. I think that's the biggest thing, bro. I think the biggest thing is, do you have a true desire for the thing? And it's the desire so heavy that you're willing to do whatever it takes, no matter what obstacles come your way to get it. Would you like a Lambo? Would it be better to have a Lambo versus having the car you're driving now? Or do I desire a Lambo? And does that make you uncomfortable when I say that? I want this so badly. By the way, the Lord has given us the ability for us to desire. This is something that He gave us as humans. What the Lord has commanded us not to do is to envy. Meaning that if you have a Lambo, I actually want to take your Lambo away from you. No, 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 no. That's envy. That is something that the Lord detests. But the Lord has given us the ability for us to desire. So if you want a Lambo, go get your Lambo. Go work for your Lambo. Make it happen. Right? But what happens is, for many of us, we have something that we want, but we don't want to say it because we don't want people to judge us. And we subconsciously try to limit our ability to actually express that desire because we're afraid that if we express it and we fail, we're going to feel a little bit worse about ourselves. Or we think other people are going to ridicule us because we didn't hit our goals and our dreams.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But you'll never know.
I find very rarely that people that are very audible with saying, this is what I really want, I find very rarely that they don't get it. Mm. When they actually said, I think a lot of people say it to themselves in silence, knowing that they have no one to hold themselves accountable to. And they say, you know something? It's getting a little dicey out here to try to get this thing. I'm going to retreat back. I don't really want it that bad.
Mm. And then you start listing reasons why you really shouldn't have it.
Right.
Well, the Lambo's not good on gas.
It's not good on gas. The insurance is really high. Yada, yada, yada.
The attention from cops.
Attention. It just doesn't make sense. This is what we do. Yeah. This is what we do. We talk ourselves out of everything. Yeah. So we get nothing. Mm.
And we just put it off. So procrastination.
Yeah.
And then it's year 7
and here we are. And here we are. And here we are.
Invisiblechallenge.com. Starts next week, right?
Next week, March 6th to 10th. Sign up. Yeah. Sign up. Yeah. We live in a world now. Where you have so much access to information. Mm-hmm. Okay? You have so much access to information. But here's the deal. You have so much access to information, but the information is fragmented. You hear this little thing from this one, you hear this thing from that one, you hear this thing from that one. Okay. All right. What I can say from me is that when the information is condensed and put together in a system, that's when people have the greatest opportunity to be able to make it change their lives. And so that's what I've done. Just put it in a system. All right. Okay. What do they need to know first? Okay. What do they need to know next? Okay. What do they need to know after that? Okay. What do they need to do next? Okay. What do they need to do after that? All right. Bam. Do this, do this, do this, do this. Repeat it, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. Build the skills, build the skills, build the skills to proficiency, to proficiency, to proficiency. Then get the tools to do the thing with the skills, success.
Yeah. 2023 is going to be different.
It's going to be different for everybody. It's just a matter of which different is going to be for you. It's going to be different for everybody.
Yeah. 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 If you've learned anything from this podcast, that made you felt great, and I know it's a feeling, right? Even when you go to church and the pastor preaches a great sermon, and you feel all great inside, and you're like, "Oh, yes, I feel it," and then you leave the church, and then you just go right back to your life, and you don't adjust anything, you don't change anything. I am warning you all, as somebody who has seen Greg move, who has seen Greg in action, I'm warning you. You're going to be upset when next year comes and you're in the same or probably worse position, and then you're looking back at all the things that you should have moved on. This is not a fake entrepreneur or a fake some guru that I hired, like, or just because he was my cousin and he kind of looks like me and I just brought him on the pod. Like, this is proof. This is living proof.
Harry, do you mind if I flip it on you for a second? I know we're finished on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you think of the journey? You know, from us 5 to 7 years old, knowing, you know, just and to where we're at. Like what's your whole take on this?
I felt that. So it's funny. I feel that you remained yourself. That through it all, that you remained true. And I just saw you throughout the years. And yes, the skills are different. The audience has changed. The size, you know, of the audience has changed. But you've always been you. Like, truly, you've always been you. You always you were yourself. You had a knack to make people laugh. You had a knack to get people to listen to you, to what you were saying. You always had the ability to lead. So maybe the confidence level has increased, you know what I mean? And certain things, but you, from my perspective, you are living proof that you can remain yourself. You can be your authentic, genuine self and be hella successful. You don't have to change and now put on this mask and be this person, because that's what it takes to be. You can be you and make an impact.
Yeah. Well, okay. I'm just interested to just to hear from you. I think what I think we need to just hit on that real quick. That's what people are looking for. People are looking for real. People are looking, but people want someone like you can be real, and if you can't solve a problem for people, then you'll be real broke, and that's fine too. All right, okay. But you can be real, and you can be who you are, but you must be able to solve a problem for people. What I want people to understand is that if you solve a problem for people and you then try to mimic someone else, it's going to take so much energy, because it takes so much energy to be something you aren't.
Yeah.
Okay? But if you can solve a high value problem for someone and you are yourself, you have now positioned yourself in a category of one. Because no one can be you.
Yeah.
No one has gone through what you've gone through. No one's gone through the pain that you've gone through. No one has a desire for the things that you find interesting. No one can do it in the way that you do it. Like next week, the way that I do it is I like to play music while I'm teaching. So in the middle of it, I will say, okay, like, what do I feel tonight? You know, tonight is going to be an 80s night. Tonight's going to be reggae night. Tonight's going to be a 90s night. Tonight's going to be soca night, right? But that's me. That's how I've always been, right? That's what we do. It's like, hey, like, you know, to my two brothers, what do you want to hear in the car right now? Okay, we want to hear 90s. We want to hear what? R&B? So I just brought that to the way that I teach because that's me. That's how I grew up. That's what we do, right? But that unique way, even though there's other people that are consultants and coaches out there, that unique way makes my delivery different than everybody else. Now, what we must understand is that that's great, but if you're delivering at a low level of skill and a low level of value, you're not going to make as much money. So you must deliver on things that people find valuable in the marketplace. And if you do that and you're yourself, you hit the jackpot.
I like the jackpot.
That's how you hit it. That's how you hit
Get in the jackpot without having to go into a room with cigarette smoke and cigar smoke.
There you go. There you go. This ain't hard rock, baby. This ain't hard rock.
Yeah, that's very true. Even in relationships, right? When you meet somebody and they bring forth their representative, right? They bring forth the best version of themselves.
Yeah.
Right? But after a while, it's so much work to keep up that image, right, of that person. Be yourself. And I work in schools right now, and today we have a word every day. The word for today is original. And just this morning and this afternoon, I'm teaching these kids to be yourself, that you are unique, you are different, and that nobody can do a better job at being you than you. So it's just so funny how tonight it's like all over again.
Wow. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Indeed. Mister, how can they reach you? They want to follow you. They want a piece of the success.
I usually would tell you, follow me at Greg Todd PT pretty much on most of the channels. YouTube, I'm Greg Todd, SSHC. But right now, I would tell you, go to that challenge. If you want, like, it's not about following anybody at this point. It's about learning and applying it. And so here, you know, here's the last thing I'd say to you all. There's never been a time like this. I think right now we're going to have the great separation. I told you, I think the middle class is really going to be virtually eliminated. But I also think right now is you have the great opportunity. You have the opportunity to learn. Let me give y'all just a little bit of advice, something I even have to do for myself. There's so many amazing things out there because you live in this time where you can learn so much stuff. What I would say, and by the way, this doesn't have to be me, but what I would say is that the biggest reason why people don't make it and don't hit their goals is their lack of focus, because there's so much. It's kind of like a buffet. You know what I mean? It's like if you don't watch yourself at a buffet, you literally will see so much stuff out there that you actually get overwhelmed, you get full before you even start eating. So sometimes what you have to do, and this is something that one of my coaches, you know, told me, is like, bro, lock into 2 people and that's it. Lock into 2 people that you admire, that you respect their game, you respect how they're doing it. You just lock into them and roll with it. Now, after listening to this is a pretty epic long podcast. You might be like, you know what? I got some gems, but you're not my guy. And that's cool. I'm not your guy. But go find 2 people, tops. Okay? But if you find 10, this is what's going to happen. What's going to happen is this. There's not one path to success. There really isn't. Okay, there's not one path. All right. Some people have done it, burning the midnight oil and blah, 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 blah. They divorced their spouse. They did this, but they got there. Okay. Some people done it this way, da, 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 da. They done all these different things and they got there. Some people have done it. It's taken them 35 years and they got there. There's so many different ways that people have done it. Okay. There's not one size fits all, but there's a couple people out there that's just your jam. And it's the way they've done it and how they've done it and what they say and what they believe in, and just rock with them. Take two people only, follow what they got to say, and just do it. That's it.
Just do it. Just do it. Absolutely. No more procrastinating. No more blaming other people.
Just do it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Mr. Greg Todd, I want to thank you so much for your time, for the value that you brought on the Blaze the Lion podcast, for the gems that you drop. You drop so many gems. I don't even think you realize when you're dropping gems. I think you're just expressing yourself, and the gems just start dropping.
I'm honored to be able to do this with you. This has been too long. So anyways, I'm glad we finally were able to do it. And and it's just been a blessing. So thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. You heard that. This episode right here, the replay will be available on YouTube in full video, right after we end this broadcast, and the audio version rather, will be available on all your major streaming platforms, as mentioned earlier, your Spotify, your Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, so on and so forth. Shout out to the family who be watching.
Auntie Betty.
Hey.
Love you.
Indeed. Thank you all again. If you caught some of this podcast and you want to catch the full thing, again, replays are there. All right. Above all, this time, do something. This time, take that risk. Take that step. Because you're going to be part of a season. One way or another, you're going to be part of a season. So, I'm tired of being in that summer season.
No more.
At some point, you got to reap. Yeah. Absolutely. This was the Blaze the Line podcast. As we always end our podcast with peace and love.